Hello, fourth graders, and welcome to Tuesday's work. So today I'm going to teach you how to use a new math tool that we haven't ever really used before, at least in fourth grade or remotely. But it's something that you might have seen before and you might have tried to use it before, or it could be something that you've never seen before and you don't even know what it does. So I'm going to give you the basics of what it is. This is what it kind of looks like. Mine is blue. A lot of times they are clear so that you can see through them, but our clear ones that we typically use are at school, and obviously you guys know that we are not going to school right now. So this is one that I had at my house, and it is called a protractor. Pretty simple word, does a lot of crazy things, mostly with angles. It can be used just as a ruler because it does have a straight edge, and this one's really old, but you can see that it does have numbers down at the bottom for every inch. So it could be used as a straight edge, but basically what a protractor is used for is for measuring the degrees of angles. So we've said several times before that acute angles are less than 90 degrees, right angles are 90 degrees, and obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees, and then straight angles are 180 degrees. So the way that you would use this is to put it up against an angle and see what the degrees of the angle is. So I'm going to kind of try to do this on the whiteboard. I'm not sure how it's really going to go, but we'll just kind of do what we can. So you're not going to have to draw any angles with the protractor because you don't have a protractor at home. So basically what you're going to see is you're going to be given angles on a piece of paper that has a protractor with it, and you're going to have to figure out the answers from there. So if I was given an angle that looked like this, okay, so I have a very simple angle right here. We can tell from this angle and from what we know that this is an acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. The 90 degrees will kind of look like this, okay, because it has that little box right here, but this clearly does not have the box there, so this is going to be less than 90, and we know that if an angle is less than 90 degrees, it's an acute angle. So that's a big part of using a protractor right there is knowing that this is an acute angle. So if it's acute, we know that our answer has to always be, if it's acute, less than 90 degrees. So if I measure this angle and it comes out to more than 90 degrees, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, so what you do is if you have a protractor, which again, you do not, but this is how you would do it. You mark the vertex of the angle up with this. Totally, this is gonna be hard. You mark it up with the center of the protractor. So the center of my protractor is right here, and the bottom of the protractor is basically follows along the same line as what I have right here. So we measure it up, okay? And you guys cannot see this. Well, maybe if I get really, really close, you can. Here, how about this? Oh, your teacher is so smart. So you can see the numbers here. There's two different numbers. So the inside numbers say 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and so on. So this one goes to 60 degrees with the inside numbers on my protractor. For the outside numbers on my protractor, it goes 180, 170, 160, 150, 140, 130, 120. Okay, so my protractor has two numbers right here, 60 and 120. Okay, so if this is an acute angle, which I know it is because it's less than 90 degrees, is this angle going to be 60 or 120 degrees? You're right. It's going to be the 60 degrees. 120 is not correct because that is too many degrees to fit this angle. And here's why the protractor tries to mix us up. The protractors have something called an inner and an outer scale. So when we are looking at protractors, okay, those inside numbers are known as the inner scale, and the outside numbers are known as the outer scale. I know, genius. So when we just measured our angle, we had to decide if we were going to use the inner scale to measure or the outer scale. So when I lined this up and it got us to 60 degrees, the 60 is on the inside and the 120 is on the outside. So we use the inner scale to measure that angle at 60 degrees. Okay, so the angle was an acute angle and it was 60 degrees, and we used the inner scale. It's very simple how to decide whether you're going to use, the inner or the outer scale. Basically, you have to just look at the numbers, and if the numbers are on the inside, then it's the inner scale. If the numbers are on the outside, then it's the outer scale. Okay. But if it gives you an angle and you're trying to decide if you use the inner or the outer scale, it all depends on which way the angle is going. Okay? Because this angle right here had this bottom line segment pointing over to the right. Okay, so if the bottom line is pointing this way, I always have to start at 0, just like we do with any normal number. So I'm not going to start at 180 and count up. I'm going to start at the 0 and count up. That's only what makes sense. If I had an angle facing the other way, like if I had an angle facing this way, okay, this is the one that we just did up here. If I had this angle down here facing the other way, let's see if my computer can do this. Okay, and I put the protractor on this angle, lining it up over here, I'm going to use the 0 on this end, and the 0 on this end is actually on the outer scale. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 180, 170, 160, 150, 140, 130. So our 2 degrees that we get are 50 degrees and 130 degrees. Okay, we know by looking at this angle that it is an acute angle. So if it is an acute angle, it has to be the degrees that is under 90, which would be the 50 degrees. This one, we use the outer scale on. This one, we use the inner scale on. It matters which scale you use based on the baseline being matched up to 0. So that's why on the worksheet I ask for you to use your fingers, because I really want you to just take your finger when you're trying to figure out the angle and say, oh, the baseline's over here, so I'm going to start at 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and so forth. Or you're going to look at that the baseline is over here pointing to this 0 and go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on and so forth. Okay? This is a new skill. You have never done it before. And you are learning it remotely, which means it's going to be a little tricky at first. Okay? But if you have any questions, please ask Mrs. Phillips and I. We both have a book group from 10:30 to 11 today. But besides that, we will be available to you. There will be a Zoom link up. You can email us any of your questions. And really, really, really just try your best on your math before you submit it. A lot of you are getting kind of lazy with it and you're just submitting whatever kind of answers and not caring about it. And that is going to affect your grade. Okay? So you need to reach out if you need help, because we're only going to pass it back one time to let you fix the answers, and then whatever you get that second time is going to be your grade, because we really want you to be trying your best. Okay? So what type of angle is going to be acute, acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Remember, acute is less than 90 degrees, right is 90 degrees, obtuse is bigger than 90 degrees, and straight angle is 180 degrees. And your inner scale and outer scale, inner is the numbers on the inside, outer is the number on the outside. And remember to use your finger to match it up with that zero, and whatever zero you are using to measure or draw your angle will determine if that is the inner angle, the inner scale, or the outer scale. Okay, good luck.